On the 14th of November, MatchRoom Boxing is putting on a female boxing triple header. Katie Taylor will be fighting a girl called Gutierrez. Terri Harper will be fighting a girl called Tandres or Thunders. And Rachel Ball will be fighting a girl called Ebanie Bridges. Now, the woman or girl that Taylor is fighting, Gutierrez, 13 fights, 13 wins. The girl that Harper is fighting, Thunders, 13 fights, 13 wins. But I want to concentrate on the third of these, Ebanie Bridges and Rachel Ball. Now, Rachel Ball has had 7 fights, 6 wins, 1 loss against Thunders. Ebanie Bridges, 4 fights, 4 wins. Now, Rachel Ball, she hasn't got a great record. She hasn't got a huge amount of experience. But she's fought this girl, Saunders. She put up a respectable performance. So that speaks well for her. She also fought and beat Shannon Courtney. Now there's some controversy over that, but she beat her. So Rachel Ball has some experience. But we come to Ebanie Bridges. This is what I really want to talk about. Bridges, 4 fights, 2 wins, 4 fights, 4 wins, 2 KOs. So who is Ebanie Bridges? Well, she's age 34, Australian. But here's the real kicker. She is ranked at number 29 in the BoxRec ratings. 29th. There are 28 people ahead of her in the ratings. So, the question is, why was she given this fight? If you look at the number 1 person on the bantamweight list is a woman called Juarez. She's 40 years of age, 67 fights, 54 wins. If you look at the second woman on the list, Daniela Bermudez, 34 fights, 3 losses, 3 draws. So now I haven't gone down the entire list and checked the pedigree of all the 28 fighters above Bridges, but it's reasonable to assume there's 20 or more people on that list who have a lot more experience than Bridges. So why did Bridges get this fight? Well, Bridges is a woman with a big bust. She has a big bosom. And she promotes this big bosom. She has herself photographed at all the right angles to show it off. In every interview she gives, she shows her bosom off. And she also talks about it all the time. She seems to think that women's boxing, for it to succeed, that women boxers have to have big boobs and be sexy and all of this. And now she's a maths teacher, so an intelligent woman. She's, I suppose you could say, famous in Australia. She's a bit of a celebrity, but she's a celebrity associated with big boobs and being provocative and all of this. She really, really trades on this. And there was talk of her having a fight with Shannon Courtney. and she was building this up herself, and she was building it up purely as like a sex fight. Two attractive women, both sort of reasonable sized bosoms, let's say, and she's into all that stuff, and it's all she ever talks about when it comes to boxing. It's all about big boobs and sweaty women and men, men watching this, and this is what it's supposed to be all about. So, so that's who she is. Now, she's age 34, and like I say, 29th on the list. So why? Why is this woman getting a chance to fight for a bantamweight world title? I mean, apart from her boobs, quite literally apart from her boobs, there's nothing else remarkable or noticeable about her. And I think I think Eddie Hearn has made a mistake here. Now, Eddie Hearn has done wonderful things for women's boxing. And when the history of women's boxing is written in 20, 30 years' time, Eddie Hearn will have a very prominent place in that. He's done great things for women's boxing, and he deserves full credit. But on this, I think he's made a mistake, because this woman, she pushes this caricature of sort of, busty women fighting and sweating in a ring while loads of men sit around and watch. That's her whole narrative. And, it's totally wrong image for boxing, I think. And ultimately, I think it's a joke. Really a joke. This woman is a joke. She's a self-promoting joke. She seems to like this sort of thing, but it reflects bad on boxing. And with this 3 triple header on November the 14th, like Katie Taylor and Gutierrez, Terri, Harper, and Sanders. These are going to be really good fights. We're going to see some really good boxing, some really exciting boxing. So this is going to be great for women's boxing. And presumably this Ball versus Ebanie Bridges, this Ball versus Bridges fight. Presumably this will be an earlier fight. This will be the first thing people see, and it's a mockery. Now, I'm not expressing this very well, and I'm stumbling and stuttering, but really, this is a joke. And it doesn't reflect well on boxing. It's almost a mockery of boxing to put this woman on. Now, one other thing about this is that she's 5'1". Now, Shannon Courtney was 5'3", and Shannon Courtney looked like a midget in the ring with Rachel Ball. So, coming in 2 inches shorter than Shannon Courtney, it's going to look really, really weird. Now, according to the official record, Rachel Ball is 5'9". I think she's more than that. I think she's more than that. Now, Rachel Ball herself every time she's asked about her height, she refuses to answer. She said quite open she doesn't like giving out her height because it gives people maybe an advantage knowing her exact height. But she's listed as being 5'9" on the box rec site. As I say, I think she's taller. And this girl, Ebanie Bridges, she's really, really, really going to look tiny compared to Ball. And if you think back to the Ball versus Courtney fight, Courtney had to really, really stretch to get a punch onto Ball's chin. And I think Courtney won that fight, and I thought she might have fought a very good fight. But, 5'1", 5'1" as opposed to 5'9" or 5'10", it's going to look very weird. But this woman, Ebanie Bridges, it's a joke. She makes a mockery of boxing. She trivializes the whole thing. So I think they made a mistake. I don't think they should have her on the card at all. It looks bad. It will reflect bad on women's boxing. A bad idea. I think it was a bad idea. But the other two fights would be great. But this Rachel Ball herself, not a good boxer. I like Rachel Ball. I'd like her to do well. I'd like to see her improve and all of that. But she's not a good boxer. She's rigid, very rigid. She's just not a very good boxer. So, her fighting a 5'1" girl who's only had 4 fights and whose only claim to fame are her breasts, I think it's going to be a disaster. But there you are. So, anything else? Yeah. So, it's for a vacant WBA bantamweight title. And why? Why did they pick this woman, Ebanie Bridges? 28 people above her. Why? I don't know, but I think it's a mistake.